Hi, and welcome to The Spread, JLN's weekly recap of the best, occasionally weird, stories and trends from the wide world of options. I'm Spencer Dorr, and thinking of maybe a different catchphrase. This week marked the implementation of MiFID 2, and I talk about MiFID, but really I don't want to on a Friday afternoon. Not that MiFID is a total downer. There were a ton of regulatory reprieves granted this week, even though regulators insisted that they wouldn't do that. But besides being the start of a new regulatory regime, it is also the start of a new year, which means end-of-year and end-of-month volume reports and status checks. And this year, despite off-cited historically low levels of volatility, it was a pretty decent year overall for options volumes. OCC cleared the third most contracts of all time, coming in at 4,327,576,930 contracts. OCC's numbers included a record year for futures clearing, too, coming in at 138,029,762 contracts. I did grow up loving that big word in Mary Poppins. Thank you for bearing with me. There were a number of pieces this week that made the argument that volatility will return in 2018, and there were also a number of pieces this week that made the argument that volatility will not return in 2018, which reminds me of a number of other stories and articles that point out that predictions are generally worthless. Although, as has been mentioned, there is continuing divergence between the VIX and SKEW index, at least indicating folks are preparing for something. Now, if you were looking for something more grounded and with a firmer footing in reality, Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management had a report out based on some academic research released in November regarding the effects of off-hour earnings announcements on volatility. Now, I'm not going to get super nuts and boltsy, but this is just another example of academics ruining somebody's edge, because we all know that once it's hit the broader tape, knives can dull pretty quickly. After all, as I've heard said in the trading world, things work until they don't. Very poignant, I know. Then there was the FT's HFT story this week. It paints kind of an ugly picture for the industry, but mostly for the mid and small tier folks. The flashiest of boys and girls are not going anywhere overall. And just consider this quote from Mr. Wilson of D.R. Wilson renown. Don is quoted as saying, "It's not like it's all bleak and there's nothing to do. We see lots of interesting things to do." And I don't think anybody can disagree with that statement from Don Wilson. Again, I'm Spencer, and this has been The Spread.